Just over 23 pounds for an extra large bike with pedals and a power meter. Wow.
Specialized has been teasing me for months about the new Epic. Well, it's finally here and it's built, so let's check it out. First thing you can see is a completely redesigned frame. It's longer, lower, and slacker. Head tube's kicked out to 67.5 degrees. Bottom bracket has been dropped 9 millimeters, and the reach has been increased anywhere from 5 millimeters up to 20 millimeters, depending on which size bike you're talking about. The rear triangle has also been made a little bit lighter and a little bit stiffer according to Specialized. So once we get out on the trail, we should feel a more efficient power transfer. The Brain suspension system also got a makeover. The new Brain is now designed to be much more racer oriented. So Specialized claims the platform is going to be firmer off the top and better mid-stroke support. The new SID Ultimate Brain fork is a little bit lighter, and because there's neither a lockout lever or a dropper switch, the front end of the bike is remarkably clean. The new Roval Control SL wheels are so light they're actually lighter than a lot of road wheels that are available. We've got the Top Flight group set from SRAM, and we also have a Quark power meter. But that's enough tech talk. Let's get out on the trail and see what happens. So I've been on the Epic for a few weeks now, and I've got a few hundred miles of riding under my belt. And I've got to say, the suspension claims that Specialized makes about the new Brain being firmer off the top with smoother transitions, along with the stiffer rear triangle, are absolutely true. The Brain suspension works with two inertia valves, one in the fork, one in the cylinder that sits just behind the rear axle. That controls whether the shock is open or closed. Those inertia valves can tell the difference between downforce, force from the rider, and upward force, force from the trail. And in this case, it's resisting the downward force from the rider to give you a more efficient pedaling platform. However, the smoother transitions means that the suspension shifts from closed to open much more smoothly, so you can ride stiffer settings. You get that really efficient hardtail-like pedaling with the benefit of the full suspension. The other great update on this bike is the stiffer rear triangle, and combined with the updated Brain, when you're doing paved climbs, when you're doing smooth climbs on trails, when you're out of the saddle, you don't feel the same kind of bobbing that you do even on really smooth, really efficient cross-country bikes. You feel pretty locked in. Another big claim Specialized makes with the new Brain is they say the knock is completely eliminated. There was a very noticeable knock when the suspension would engage. It would sound like you've either hit your rim or the suspension was bottoming out, but that was just the inertia valve opening and the suspension engaging. It's dramatically reduced. As you ride in firmer settings, you notice it a little bit more on the transitions, but the knock isn't eliminated. One of the first things that jumped out at me is that this bike felt good right from the get-go, straight out of the parking lot on ride one. The head angle is kicked out to 67.5 degrees, which seems kind of crazy for a cross-country bike. And I was hesitant at first. I was expecting the front wheel to wander a little bit, but the tracking is beautiful. On low speed, steep climbs, the front wheel doesn't have any of that wander that you get from a trail bike. But once you start ripping downhill, then you really feel that extra capability from the kicked out front end. The Epic is purely a race bike. Any compromises for the trail crowd are gone. However, for the trail crowd, the new Epic EVO is right in your wheelhouse. It's got the same front triangle as the Epic. It's got longer chain stays for a little bit more stability, 120 mils of travel up front, 110 in the rear. It's super light, and it also has a dropper post. If you're looking for a cross-country race bike, the Epic is your bike. But if you do marathons, stage races, ultra endurance races, if you like some long trail sessions on more rugged trails, then think about stepping up to the longer travel of the Epic EVO. So what do you guys think of the new Epic? Are you stoked? Or is the longer travel of the EVO more your speed? Tell us what you think in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more videos.